myself, much as I love to do that. Okay, so just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about loyalty at Catch Protection, how it's come about, why we think we're doing well, and what we're going to try and do to stay doing well. So today, just a little bit more information about our loyalty scores, what we've managed to glean and understand about them, and then just some thoughts on why we think our supporters are loyal. And actually there will be some fluffy kittens because it's impossible to have a CP presentation without them. So a bit more detail on our loyalty score. So we've got some scores here from 2019, 2020. As Richard said, we've come top in both of those leagues, which is really good. The comparative scores here, the one area that we've tried to work on is satisfaction. I think number one, because it's probably the area that you can have most effect on, and also I think it's the one area where we thought that we probably were lacking through our membership of other forums, and looking at the whole experience that we can to give the donor. And obviously it was our lowest score of all of these, so if we want to bring our total score up, that's where we go. What's really nice is our net promoter score has gone up as well, and I think what we're most happy about is the fact that we've maintained or increased scores as we've grown the database, because just in case I've never mentioned it before, we were top in 2015 as well, and we've really grown the database, and we're really pleased that we've managed to maintain this kind of score. Just looking sort of a little bit more into the scores itself, we've now got a great data team in place that are helping us to look more at the detail. I think there's probably nothing you would be amazed by here, that our net promoter score is highest with new supporters and active supporters, and then as people lapse, they're less likely to be recommending us. Although, having said that, it's still not a horrendous score in places, and that matches quite well to the loyalty score for those areas as well. So although it doesn't tell us anything earth-shattering, it confirms the logic is sound. I think it tells us that obviously we've got some work to do with our lapsed supporters, and we could improve things there. As I said, we've been growing rapidly over the past 7 or 8 years. There's been a lot of concentration on acquisition. Not to say that we haven't tried to steward those donors, but there's definitely more that we could do in that direction. And then just trying to split that net promoter score another way. So this is using standard Acorn categories. I think what we find there is we've got an opportunity to build better relationship with more affluent groups. Again, we've concentrated hugely on individual giving, direct debits, lots of people giving small amounts. So that, again, the data matches up to what we expected, which was that there's an opportunity there that we can do more, and the high value giving team are working on, well, we're all working on new strategy for next year, where we've got a benchmark now that we can measure against. as part of the strategy work, we've been further segmenting. So the A to I here are groups that we've created within our database by overlaying other factors on top of the acorn category. Nothing earth-shattering that you wouldn't expect. And it's just enabled us to look again at if there are audiences that we want to concentrate on, then we can see we've got a much clearer picture of them. And again, it's across these new sort of made up groups, the affluence is still moving from left to right. So it's more detail, but it's telling the same story as the broader acorn categories. We also have been through an exercise, sorry if I bored anybody about it on Monday, of looking at all of our various data sources and trying to merge them together and indexing those. And we've looked at our Net Promoter Score from the people who are on the database who've rehomed through us or that we've paid for their neutering. And we've got good scores there, less of a financial contribution. Again, there's some logic that follows, and it's fairly clear to us that you know, these are people that we've helped, that they're very happy with that. They're telling other people that that's what they do. They're not necessarily in a position maybe to donate financially, but obviously that's a relationship that we need to work with on a different way. And like everybody else, 50% of our legacies, we don't officially know where they came from, but people we've helped and people who've interacted with local branches are bound to be part of that. Looks like we've got an opportunity to maybe improve our adoption journey. That's been really challenging this year, obviously. But maybe we'll come out at the end of that with a better journey anyway. So we'll be interested to see how those scores progress in the future. So that was a little bit of detail of the scores, but why do we get these kinds of scores? As Richard said, it's been said lots of times, oh, you've just got cats. Yeah, and what on earth wouldn't supporters be loyal? And obviously there's something about the commitment to the cause that scores highly, that's always going to help us. But I think there is more to it than that. So we've benchmarked, these are our email stats on the right hand side. And again, we're scoring really well against the industry mean. So we've obviously got an engaged and loyal audience, whichever way we measure it. This is one of the reasons I would suggest. So this is 2 semi-detached houses in Horsham in Sussex, and that was CP's head office only 16 years ago. We've now got a head office with room for 200 staff. We've got the largest cattery in Europe. We've got a maternity wing, we've got a visitor centre, we've got dental and surgical operating theatre, warehousing, donkeys, if any of you have been there, that's another story, all set in 6 or 7 acres in the Sussex countryside. Obviously it's empty at the moment, but there's a lot of the staff that remain from these times. And I really think that the small charity mentality still exists. That can, of course, cause us some real problems in trying to move things forward. But when it comes to being close to supporters and what they think, what they like, it's a real bonus. There's still a passion within the charity for giving those supporters what they want. In terms of asking people what they want, we run a donor survey every year, have done, well, for at least 8 years. Yes, there's an element of lead generation in this survey, but there are also plenty of questions that we ask people in terms of mailing frequency, how they feel about the comms we send them, and we act on those answers, which is the most important point, I guess. An example of that is the new-ish membership product. So we've always had, we're a membership organisation, but the membership in the past is a very functional kind of thing, voting rights, going to the AGM, etc. So what we found from talking to supporters and donors was they supported us and they trusted us, but there wasn't really much of a sense of belonging, of being part of the Cats Protection family. So all of that was borne in mind when we designed the membership, and we've really made it like a club, and you know, we're in this together, and we're finding this is helping us with the advocacy team now, because we've got that sort of mentality and sort of slightly moving more into the campaigning arena. Not that we've always been there, but we're being, you know, we're shouting about it a lot more now. There is then the local connection, which we absolutely can't ignore. So we're a national charity. We raise and spend £70 million a year. We rehome more cats than all of the other animal charities put together. I don't know who's on this call. Sorry, I'm apologising to you now. But to lots and lots and lots of people, we are the local cat centre who help them personally, or we're involved in something locally. We have 250 volunteer branches who do their own fundraising and their own publicity work. And our job back at head office is to try and give them marketing support so that we make life easier for them, and give them, so all of our products the local branches can promote. But equally, we're not the brand police. So if somebody wants to cut out some green letters and stick it on and say this is a sponsor pen, we're not going to say that's off brand, you can't do it. And that way we're working together and we're making the most of the national strength and the local connection. Talking of the products, we've got a really wide range of products now, and we've sort of classified them as adopt, donate, join or play. Even the people who are only raffle or lottery members, we always talk to them about why they do, why they support us in that way. And there's still, yes, they want to win some money, but there's still definitely a connection to the cause. So, you know, whether you want to experience something of how Cats Protection works through sponsorship, or whether you just want to give money, whether you want to be part of the family and help us form, you know, strategy in the future, or whether you just need to play. And we've got stuck on the end here the streaming product, Pawson Player. We're struggling at the moment with classification, because whenever someone says gaming now, everybody says, do you mean gaming or raffle gaming? So we're not sure where that's going to fit, but I think that's probably play. And we're looking at, you know, we're looking at this, and we know this is a good spread, but we're still looking at innovation and new product development for the future. And we have portfolio assessment all the time, just to make sure that all of these products are doing their job. Nice Venn diagram. We can see here from, you know, the data on the number of supporters that the wide mix is really doing something. So there are 72,000 people who only play the lottery. But we've also got some quite hefty crossover, and not surprisingly, we're finding really good loyalty from people with multiple touch points. And obviously we absolutely love these 2,007 people in the middle who do absolutely everything. As well as products, we make sure that we're out on every channel that we can. So for some time, we've been marketing all of our products through mail, TV, telephone, Facebook, face-to-face, the local branches and events. search, programmatic, PPC, all these things that I've had to learn what on earth they mean and how they work. We're now looking at our supporter journeys and merging the online and the offline elements to just give the streamless supporter-led communications based on their actions, where they click on an email, for instance. I forgot what I was going to say. It will come back. So in summary of what I've just been talking about and what's happened next. So we think we have loyal supporters because we have a small charity passion. We're very good at asking our supporters what they want, and we're good at delivering that for them. We definitely have a local feel as well as a national scale, and we've got an extensive product and channel mix, and there's more beyond those sort of individual giving products as well. So those things feed into our loyalty, and then in terms of the future, using this information and other things, we have a new strategy that we're developing. We're looking at innovation. We're obviously trying to map far better supporter journeys, now making our decisions based on this data, and digitizing wherever we can. Probably like the rest of you, that's been hugely sped up by this year's events. And that is all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lee. Excellent. And I couldn't help but notice your dog in the background.
Always, always.
It's always a pleasure to hear him, or unless it's your cat doing a good impression of him.
No. Definitely Obi the dog. He's becoming famous at CP. Excellent.
So got a question in the Q&A here. Some more coming through, but the question is, do you have open lines of communication with other animal charities? So how do you share information or network across, say, Blue Cross or RSPCA and other animal charities?
I think there are open lines of communication. It's not something formal or organised. I think in different areas it's dependent on things like personnel, work that maybe we've both been involved in. So there's usually it's a lot to do with personal contact. So Blue Cross data teams actually know each other, talk to each other. We used to do some joint work with Dogs Trust on rehoming animals for people who are fleeing domestic abuse. So at an operations level or a fundraising or data level, we may speak and share information, but it's sort of grown organically, if I'm honest.
Ready?
Lee, can I come in with a question?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lee. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, and actually, you touched on it. Probably worth saying, Lee was. I don't think it's luck that these things happen. Lee was one of the very first. Can I call you guinea pigs when you're cats protection? Going back in 2015 when we were first even doing the research, and to be honest, there wasn't much more to talk about than just kind of, we've got a bit of an idea, will you help us sort of play with it and see what comes out of it back in the day. And I think for me, that openness to be looking at things, trying things, testing things is you're seeing 5 years on. I think you're really seeing some of that pay dividends. But the thing I wanted to pick up on was you started off showing lots of data, and I know you've got huge amounts of data, and you've invested in that in the last few years, and in really making sure you've got the data and the insight to drive this. But then I thought it was really interesting. You started talking about the fact that you're a big national charity with local. With a lot of local touch points and local branches, and you talked about so I guess the question I've got is around what do you do? The culture is obviously really important. It's not just about the data and the program and the processes and things like that. The culture is important. I wonder, are there things that you can sort of touch on that are really critical in keeping that, while you grow and grow, keeping that small charity feel and that personal touch, which seems to be really critical across cats protection and externally?
I suppose, as the teams have grown, people are, again, it's happened organically. So maybe, one person at a time has joined the team and they've got sucked into the cult, if you like, and just think the same way. And over that time we have changed. We've changed agency. We've changed suppliers on various things, and I think again, having those couple of changes, and also the fact that we do outsource a lot of our work, I think we have to brief in those agencies, so we're continually almost reinforcing it in our own minds and just perpetuating this. I suppose me doing this presentation is almost part of it. We're just perpetuating the story that everybody here does care, and you can't work at a place like Cats Protection and not care. You speak to supporters who, we were inundated at the beginning of the pandemic with people wanting to know what's going to happen to the cats. They didn't care about anything else or anybody else. It was, okay, if everyone's got to stay inside, who's going to feed those cats? So it's a unique charity. I've really never worked anywhere where everybody is so committed. And as I said, that can be problematic. There can be some really quite feisty conversations internally about all sorts of things that you think people wouldn't have differing views on. But again, through any kind of strategy, the cat welfare is number one at the top. And that's what the supporters have been brought in on, whether they were around in the 1920s or in 2020. So I think if we did anything else, it actually wouldn't work.
I mean, the word that screams out to me is authentic. It's
yes.
It's just core to who you are. And thank you.
And aligned, isn't it? And it's having that a really clear, common, shared purpose. I mean, so you've talked about all the other things you do. So you do have membership. You've got local rehoming. You've got campaigning groups. But again, it's come back to that cat welfare being your number one priority. And I think that's something that everybody in the organisation can unify behind. It's a really unifying message. So I like that.
There's a couple of questions in the chat, in the Q&A. The first one is around, you mentioned one of the surveys you send out. Obviously, you also send out the Chase Index survey with us. And I suspect, I'm pretty sure there's other ones as well. How do you balance the different objectives or aims of them and manage that process?
It's a good question. I think in the past, we have been a little bit guilty of focusing on things campaign by campaign, and it's been in the last couple of years that we've really tried to pull things together. And I think now it's more of a case of assessing those objectives in advance and having a framework that everything else needs to fit to. Rather than saying, oh, that one looks good, or that one will tell us this, will that be useful? It's almost having that, and to be honest, we're still developing the strategy for next year. The interesting part has been with our internal donor survey. I mean, way back in the dawn of time, there was an acquisition pack. If everybody must remember those surveys that used to be designed to make you keep on ticking yes, and there'd be one saying, will you give us some money? and I think a long time
Only
ago,
those of us of a certain age, Lee.
yeah, there's probably a whole load of people shaking their head at the moment. So this was an internal survey, and it was always, I think, aiming to not be like that. It's been a struggle in different years to, because, and there is a lot of conversation going on this year about, okay, how do we continue this? Is it lead generation? Is it a true survey? Can you and you said the word authentic, can you genuinely do both? And I think, again, the answer for me is yes, as long as you are genuinely asking a question and you have a reason to ask it, and you're prepared to act on what the answer is.
The other thing that comes out to me from your answer is that if you're serious about wanting to create good supporter experiences, sometimes you have to ask yourselves difficult questions, and some of those things that it may be easy to do it, but actually to really challenge yourself whether you're doing it for the right reasons is it's great. It's great that you're doing that. There's one other question that we'll wrap up with, if that's all right. Which is, I know some cats protection fundraising staff were already working from home long before the pandemic. Do you have any tips for helping everyone making it work effectively? I mean, we're all in this boat at the moment. So any tips?
I think yes. I mean, yes, particularly in the direct marketing and digital teams, we've been home based for a long time, and therefore we've been recruiting on a home based basis, which is great. We get some fantastic people joining us. It also means we have about 600 applications for a job. So that can be, again, it's hard work, but it's worth it. It's something that's actually got more difficult this year. I was just talking to somebody about it this morning. So those of us who've been home based and are quite used to it, and we've all got our own sort of little network. We've been on Microsoft Teams for a year. It all works. And then suddenly about 180 other people joined in. And that was really, really difficult. And I think what we're finding is that openness, just have a can-do attitude, be open to new ways of working, challenge everything else. I mean, other things that we're doing is, just making sure you're not staring at the screen all day. There are some of us who are local to each other. In the north of the country, there's actually a group called the Northern Lovelies, and it's people who basically live in the northeast of the northeast and northwest of the UK, whether they are operations staff, fundraising staff, anything in between. And they were physically meeting. Now they're obviously having to do that virtually. And again, it's just don't have the barriers. And in lots of ways, the whole digital evolution, whatever you want to call it, it not only does it facilitate that way of working, it demands it as well. So, and again, it's like any other sort of new way of doing something. We found it worked for us. We championed it within the organisation, and we continue to do so now. And obviously, it's moved on for us now. There are people in just about all three of the sort of the data, the digital and direct marketing teams that I look after. I've never met them in person. And in fact, at least 1, 2, 3 of those people have been interviewed and inducted and brought online, and are having probationary reviews, either had or just having, and they've never met their line manager in person. So again, it's I am making us sound like the Moonies or something like that. There is a bit of something that you buy into, I think. but you know, outside of that, it's the usual things. Don't spend all day looking at the screen. Across Cats Protection now, we have 12:30 till 2 is meeting free time. Thursday afternoons is meeting free time. We have water cooler time, so we use Microsoft Teams. The whole team can just join in. There's a half an hour slot, and it's where it's trying to recreate when you bumped into each other in the office kitchen, and it's just, you know, you just pop in there and have a chat, see who's there, talk to them, anything as long as it's not work. And it's just remembering, you know, because we do digital and direct marketing within our teams, I constantly say to people, yeah, digital is only a channel. Everything that we do on digital is all of the same marketing principles apply as they do to DM. And this is the same thing. Just do what you would normally do. You just obviously have to do it a slightly different way at the moment.
That's brilliant.
Thank you for giving up some of your meeting-free Thursday afternoon.
Oh, of course, yes, it's Thursday. Well, this isn't a meeting, so.
And so thank you, Lee. I think that's some really good tips there. I mean, I really like some of those just fairly simple ways to emulate kind of what's a word, typical working environment. It's really nice there. And thank you so much for your time this afternoon. As Roger says, thank you for looking at your screen and musing up, not meeting free Thursday, but yeah, fantastic time. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Some great content there.